Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the session. Today, we're still working on rewriting that podcast website. I've cleaned up the list of things that we are going to do and the things we've already done a little bit. Right now, we're working on trying to upload files. And it's not just uploading files. We're also importing images and files from our export. So we can take a quick look at that. Hold on one second. Make sure we have web development on here. Here we go. What we have right now is an export file. Podcast.io export. And what this export has is some actual URLs to our content. So we have the media URL and then a background image. The first things that we tried to do was to play with two different upload bundles. These uploader bundles seem to work pretty well if you're working exactly the way they expect you to, but neither of them seem to work very well when I was dealing with doing these imports. So if we look at, let's see here, ingest command. If looking at the ingest command, things were a little more complicated. I needed to be able to actually work with these files as they were. Both of them expected the file to be coming from an uploaded file instance, a Symfony uploaded file, and it just seemed really hacky the way we were having to do things. So what we decided to do, or what I decided to do, was to come up with my own asset manager. The big thing I wanted to deal with was Flysystem. So I'm using the Flysystem bundle, and then Flysystem is letting me work with local files now, but when I actually deploy this into production, I want it to actually be writing to S3 or, I'll be writing probably to Amazon S3, and then possibly serving from CloudFront. I may also just be serving directly from S3. I haven't really decided that yet. So the Flysystem stuff is working pretty well. Where we got a little bit of trouble on the last session was trying to figure out how to edit this content. So if we go in and edit, we do have the ability using the new image that are the new code that we've set up with the file type. We can now see the background image, which we couldn't before, so this is good. Where we have the problem, though, was on the edit screens. So we finally figured out how to get this content showing. And let me see here. If we go into EasyAdmin setup, what we did was we created the background property for background image, and we had to set an image type. And to be clear, if you do this format, things break pretty bad. So it took a while to figure out that that was actually the error that we had there. So when we try to upload a new image here, so let's go upload this. The problem that we have is that it tries to create, it tries to translate an uploaded image into, it tries to take that uploaded image and saves it on the background image itself. But the problem is the background image itself isn't actually an uploaded image file type. It's actually our file type. So I was taking a look at the file transformer and seeing what we could do to take this uploaded file and convert it to the file that we actually need. Now the problem is we get very little context here. The only information that we get is this array, and as far as I can tell, it only has this key. It only has the file key. So we don't have the information we need. We don't have the content type of the uploaded file. Well, we could actually get that, honestly. Let me see. Get client, MIME type, and then we can do get size here. I made that a little more complicated than it needed to be. An uploaded file, get client, original name. So this will get us the bits, these particular bits from where we need them. What we don't get is the actual instance itself. So we're not able to create the directory or the path based on the episode itself. So this is not going to work for us. And this is kind of where we left off on this session last time. The thing that we would really like to have is some sort of different type of transformation here that would give us the context of the actual field that this transformer was dealing with, and also the instance of the art object that it was writing to. Ideally, this would be like a DTO or something that we could do all sorts of things, but that's not really the case. So I'm going to copy this right now and just return uploaded file. And I'm going to leave the comments here because this is still going to make it more clear what's going on. So incoming, it's getting an actual file instance, so our asset file instance. But on the way back, it's passing back some completely different type. So this is kind of annoying. If we try to do this upload again, we're going to see attempted to load class episode at form. Where is it getting that from? Shouldn't actually be seeing that. Which class is this in? File type. All right, so file type. Okay, so we'd actually tried to do, we tried to move this code here. And instead of using that file transformer, we were trying to do it locally here. But again, this isn't really, well, actually this might work. Let's see here. No. So even at this context, we don't have the instance. We're getting a form builder, but we don't have the actual submitted instance. So we don't have the context that we need. So I'm going to remove this entirely. Actually, I'm going to do add model transformer. I'm going to use the other one that we had. So new file transformer. There we go. So we're going to use the other instance that is existing. And now we're going to get the error that the expected argument should be of type file or null, and instead it gets the uploaded file instance. So I thought that we'd have to find something more complicated to do here, but I'm going to try something kind of sketchy. Let's go ahead and look at what we're actually doing in EasyAdmin. This property, as I understand it, doesn't necessarily have to be, it doesn't have to actually exist. So what we could do is say something like background image, and we can do background image. Let's do background image uploaded file and call it an image type. And what we should see here now is probably something a little different. So now it's saying background image uploaded file doesn't exist, but really what it's saying is that this method doesn't exist. So it could be an actual property, but what we're going to do now is try and add the actual method. Let's go into episode. All right, so get background image. Find out where that lived. Okay, so the URL gets the URL. Get background image. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new function here that will get the background image uploaded file. Actually, let me double check. Yeah, background image uploaded file. So we're going to do get background image uploaded file. So I'm still going to pass back a file instance here. And we're going to do return this get background image, just so that we don't have to type that again. And then for the setter, this is where things will get interesting. Public function. If this works, I'm going to be super excited. Set background image uploaded file. And uploaded file. So it's going to be the Symfony implementation of uploaded file. Passes back void. Well, we'll pass back self, I think. I think that's what the other methods were doing. So now what we have is the ability to use this as an instance of episode. So if we paste the code that we had before, we're still passing back content here. We are able to do self-generate pristine media path. This, I think this should work. Value expected to be episode. File returned. Oh, no, we want this here. So we'll do this, set background image, new file. There we go. So in theory, it's doing everything else that it was supposed to do. We're just doing this in a really weird way. So when we set the form value for background image uploaded file, it's going to pass an uploaded file instance. When we get the background image uploaded file, we're actually going to get back the file instance. So this is only going to exist for the purpose of EasyAdmin. Really don't like this sort of thing, but I don't think that I don't think I have a lot of choice in this. So let's go ahead and try this now and see if we get something else happening. Expected argument of type symfony HB foundation file null given. Okay, cool. So it's doing property accessor. Hoping this is going to work like I expected. Let's see here, handle request. All right, so property path mapper, set value. I wonder if we actually need to have, I wonder if that actually needs to be a property. I thought this could just be methods. So let's see, background image file. Yeah, because when the error message might have been too nice. So neither the property nor one of the methods exists. So get set. Ooh, there's no set. Okay. So I wonder. It's actually this part that's broken. Awesome. Let's see if the get one works. Let's go back here. Yeah, so get works. Background image uploaded file. All right, so it looks like I can maybe use __set. I haven't done that in a while. Name value. So let's just see if we can do this. So background image uploaded file. There. Yeah. Again, this is not at all the way I want to do this, but if it gets the job done, I'm going to be happy about that. Undefined variable uploaded file, right? That makes sense because we need it from here. All right, so, well, it broke it, which doesn't make me happy. What's the URL it gets here? Well, it gets everything else right. So we get uploads, episode. Well, we aren't actually writing it right. this is not working the way I wanted it to. So I think we're gonna have to do something actually different here. Mostly because the reason is it's saving this and it's persisting it correctly now, but it's not actually persisting the content because we need the file asset manager in order to do that. So let's see here. So let's take a quick look at what sort of events we have. So I think we can do some things related to event subscribers. Event, no, EasyAdmin bundle, tutorials. There we go, event object. So, all right, so what we can do, event object. So the event object is sort of the current entity object, search actions. So we can set up a pre-persist, set blog post. Okay. I'm actually feeling okay about this because this is very much EasyAdmin specific ways to handle some things. So I'm gonna try this. Let's do let's make a new event. Let's do make subscriber. We'll call it EasyAdmin episode. And can I do other events? That's not right. All right, so let's open this up. See what we can do. All right, so on EasyAdmin pre-persist, let's see here. So generic event, so get subject. Is that what we have here? Generic event. And then we can get subject. Let's actually call this an episode. Episode event get subject. And what we can do, well, yeah, we're essentially going to do this same thing here. So instance of episode return. So we're going to make sure that this is only going to trigger for episode entities. We aren't going to do anything otherwise. What we can do now, so we can probably make the background image uploaded file an actual thing. So we need to be able to get the uploaded instance. So actually, go ahead and get the set background image. The code we had before. So maybe keep that. So let's get rid of this, uncomment this. So, because this was actually working. So when we set the background image uploaded file, everything worked. I think what we need to do is also set the actual, we need to save this actual uploaded file somewhere. This is just really dirty. So where can we store this? All right, let's back out of this because this isn't working either. Overwriting the default controller. All right, so I don't really like this either because this seems really heavy-handed, but I think I just got to do it. So let's see what they say here. So override the default controller, which is easy to set up and best suited for simple backends. Okay. Define a different controller for some or all entities, which is also easy to set up and scales well. Define event listeners or subscribers that'll listen to events by EasyAdmin. This is harder to set up, but it allows you to find customization code anywhere in your application. So yeah, we were looking at this, and I think the problem here is that we need stuff. I don't actually want this code to have to be aware of the uploaded file anywhere. I thought if I could make it work easily right here, that would just be a great win. But we can't, so I think I'm not gonna worry about it for now. So let me see what our options are here. Because if I can, I wonder if we can actually use a DTO. Ooh, maybe we can. Persist entity, transform to DTO into a doctrine entity. All right, so create new entity, create new form. All right, so create a new controller, make it extend for the default admin controller, create a new controller class, tell it which controller to use. I think I'm going to override this at the, probably by the class by class level. Update some properties for all entities. That's not what I want to do. Based on entity controller. So I think this is what I want. So product controller. So do I already have an episode controller? I do. So let's do admin episode controller. I'm not even going to bother with the maker bundle in this case. So we'll do all right. So let's go source, controller. Let's see here. There we go. It's playing around with my font sizes, and it's a little absurd. So I'm gonna switch those. All right, so let's go into controller. Let's do EasyAdmin, and let's create a new controller called Easy Episode Controller. Oh, it looks like Adam just joined on Twitch. Thanks, Adam. I'm glad you were able to catch one. Let's do episode controller. All right, so what we need to do is extend the base controller. So we'll just use this. No, admin controller. There we go, Easy Corp. There we go. All right, so what we do now is override things on a case-by-case basis. But before we do that, what we need to do is go for our entry in EasyAdmin and specify which controller to use. So we'll go to episodes, and we can do controller, app controller, EasyAdmin, and then episode. And let's just see if this works, because sometimes it doesn't. All right, so it looks like this much is working, which is good. Let's go ahead and make sure that it's actually working, and we'll do something like this. Yep, awesome. Well, that could just be a parse error. So let's see if we can find something actually broken that we can do. So this allows us to do special things. So what we want here is to figure out where they are actually doing the saving. So pre-persist, is that something? Persist entity. So this persists the entity, flushes it, given the doctrine entity, allows the entity before after being saved in the database. So this could be, this could be where we would decide to use a DTO instead. I'm kind of tempted to do that. Create search build query, but I'm a little worried that we'd get stuck on that. Update entity, so to slug, persist entity and update entity. This might be more what we're looking for here. Yeah, let's do that. So let's do, copy these in. All right, so we're going to persist the entity that comes in. We aren't going to update slug, so we're just get rid of that for now. An update will happen anytime we're doing an edit. So if method exists, set slug. No, let's not do that. So what we got to with our entity the episode the first time is that we are able to set this information, but we don't necessarily have access to the file asset manager. So what we need to figure out is if we have what we have access to here, because what we can do is say $this save media, and do that for both of these, and then we can add a function. the question is, at this point, do we still have access to the form data? Let's see if we can figure out where that comes from. So date time, create entity form builder, get entity form options, and create entity form. Given doctrine entity, update entity. So this is the edit action and the new action. Remove entity, delete form. It's also possible that we aren't going to be able to get what we want here either, which is going to be annoying. Let's see what we have access to from admin controllers. So we have it extends controller, entity, the request instance. Okay, so let's figure out what happens before it calls update entity. Update entity property. It updates the value of some property, some entity to a new given value. Property accessor. Pre-update entity with the new value. Wow, does it actually flush every time? No, it doesn't. Okay. But what is property? Property equals, okay. So this gives us a better idea of where these events come into. Execute dynamic method. Pre-update and entity true. Sometimes it's fun when you look at a solution and realize after trying everything to avoid the way that you thought you wanted to, that's the only way you can do it. So pre-persists entity associated with the item being created. Repeat what you're hunting for. Is that a question, Adam? I see, repeat what you're hunting for. I can't tell if that's a question or if that's a comment on what we're doing here. Persist. Yeah, like this is really basic. Yes, you're searching, but you missed Y. Okay, awesome. All right, so the problem is that I'm trying to use EasyAdmin, and I'm trying to fight my normal instincts on some of these to try and use canned software where possible. So far, I've not been very successful here. I tried using EasyAdmin. EasyAdmin's great. So far, I've been able to get pretty far with that. I wanted to use Flysystem to actually store the content. I found a bundle that let me configure Flysystem pretty easily. But since then, managing that content has not been easy. The first package I tried was an uploader bundle and then another uploader bundle. And the problems were that these things are very much geared toward being uploaded from the web. Meanwhile, my very first use case was getting information from my export file from my original site. So if we look at the original site, I'm exporting where the existing media lives and where the existing background images are. So I want to process this export file, download the content, put it into the new storage system locally, or the new storage system wherever Flysystem is configured to put it. And we've been able to do that now. So I finally just wrote my own system for this. And now I'm trying to figure out how to update EasyAdmin so that it will let me do stuff with that. So if we go to episodes, it doesn't have the right background image here anymore, but at least originally it came in just fine. So I'm going to run this ingest command again. I don't think that actually worked, did it? No, that's weird. Ingest -f. Why is the ingest command not working now? I think I have it limited to 2 files. Navicat. So the thing that we're at now, or where we've actually managed to get to, is I'm able to display the form to actually accept an upload and have it actually persist the correct URL. So it, over here, it actually persisted. Where's the background image URL? Here it is. So it actually persisted the correct, well, that's actually the media URL again. Background image, here we go. So this is actually the file that I uploaded, that I opted to upload. It has the correct image type, it has the correct content length. Everything is actually correct, except it didn't actually move the file into place. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. The way that EasyAdmin is working is if we look at the background image, is that it will treat background image as an image type. Background image in my entity, the actual proper entity, is a, let's see, protected private dollar background image. The background image is actually a string. So background image is actually a virtual field. So get background image is here. So we actually create a file instance from the background image URL. And that works great. So I want to remove this entry. See if we can get the ingest to work again. I don't like how that's not working. I may have broken some other things. But the problem is that on the form side of it, if we look at the form side, if I say background image, it is able to give me a field. Awesome. Let's see here. I managed to break something with the ingest. I think I need to fix that first now. And not forced return. Fine. All of this should be working. Let's do offset length 3. No, it's just straight up not doing anything. So let's see. I wonder what episodes get all. Oh no, that makes sense. All exported episodes. I wonder if there's something wrong with my cache. Maybe Redis is down. There we go. Should. All right. This is always fun. Let's see here. Ingest, export client. What implements that? Get all. Should be getting things. Oh, no. What was the error? Something about a type error. Yeah, well, this error here, this is actually the problem that we're trying to solve. The problem is that I'm dealing with a File Asset Manager file instance. The way that EasyAdmin is set up, that it's always dealing with an uploaded file instance, which is a completely different thing. It's a symfony file that represents an uploaded file to a form, whereas my File Asset Manager file is right, so not parsing the file, yeah. So, but this is a different problem. I don't understand why my ingest script isn't working anymore. It should be getting at least here. Export. Which makes me wonder what's really going on here. So ingest command, target episodes all. It's not even coming in here. Oh, come on, Beau. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That would do it. All right, so let's do force. All right, so here we're actually downloading the files, so we should be able to see a few of these. Uploads, episode. There we go. So here we're downloading the media for 3 episodes now is what we should be getting, I think. All right, if we go into the admin screen now and do the list, we actually see this information is coming through correctly. So the background image is right. If I click edit, we can see it here. The problem is when I upload a new file, I'll kind of backtrack some of these things here just to make sure I didn't miss something. When I come back here now, when it calls set background image, actually let me rename this here. Let's go. Since we're using background image of type image type, what's going to happen is when I save this, it's going to give me an error because it's being passed, because this function set background image is expecting either null or a file. And what's being passed back is an uploaded file. So EasyAdmin is not translating this back to the correct instance type. The first place that I looked at doing this is the data transformer, so file transformer, which really highlights the problem here. So we can say that var file $file. So we're seeing here that it transforms the actual value for this object as a file and leaves it here. When we get the data back, it's still in data file, but now it's an uploaded file instance. So I first tried to convert the uploaded file to a proper file instance here by doing the following, which should have worked. The only problem is that we don't have the context of the episode here. So we get everything else we need. We get the original client name, we get the client MIME type, and we get the size. But we can't do anything here. So Adam is saying, can we do this on the file side or on the transform side? I mean, it's already a file. It's already the right type here. We could transform it into an uploaded file type, but that wouldn't necessarily matter, or it wouldn't really help us a lot. The problem is that when we're reversing the transformation from the normalized data back to what it's going to pass into there's not a get contents. All right, so there is probably something like that. Get content, or let's see, what is it? There is something in here where you can get the file name, like the local file name, and copy it. I think you can do copy or move. So you could do something along those lines. The problem is that what we would need here is the, we still don't have access to the episode name, or the episode. And the episode is used to generate the media path, because we need to know the episodes, generates pristine media path. Well, if we look at this value, we're actually generating a longer path based on information from within the episode itself. So we aren't past this episode. So we can't do anything like that. So even if we could get that, we'd need to find a way to be able to get the file asset manager into this file transformer. We might be able to do that because we're actually creating it in the file type. So we actually create this transformer here. So we could probably pass in this file asset manager, assuming we have access to that here. Yeah, we do. So we do have the Flysystem Asset Manager. So if we needed it, we could probably get that there. But the problem is, even if we had that, we don't get access to the entity itself. So we can't figure out what path the file should actually be stored at. So we backed out of this because that was a dead end. We tried to look into the doing some subscribers. So we looked at, let's see here, EasyAdmin episode subscriber, and we'd be able to see if it's an event. We'd be able to see if it's actually an episode, but then we'd need to be able to store the uploaded file somewhere. The actual instance in the object, and it just seems really messy to be doing that. So we weren't really able to do the subscriber, and then we started looking into trying to do an actual, let's see here, controller. So episode controller, and trying to figure out how we can get the information out. And ideally, what we this file transformer would work as long as we had the context of the entity. which I don't know why we don't have that. It really frustrates me. So I don't know if there's a concept we're missing, because if we had this, we'd actually be set. That's all we need to be able to do this the way that I had originally wanted, which was to generate a file based on all the available information, but we don't have access to the actual entity here. Let's see here, DataTransform Entity. So this has to be something that other people have had issues with. Entity to property transformer. All right, let's see how to use data transformer. So they're all, the examples that I'd seen before were all pretty basic. So here's a callback transformer. We actually tried to do one of these as well, but it's from within build form, which means we don't have access to the entity either. This is building the form. It doesn't actually give you the values. Transforming an issue number into an issue. So this is kind of a neat idea, and this actually involves having access to like the entity manager, but so issue number, so transform. So if you give it an issue, a proper issue instance, it transforms that into just the ID, which makes sense. And then to reverse that, it takes an issue number and then gives you an actual instance ID. So this is using the entity manager. Let's see here. Is it okay? The only thing that we could potentially do is within the transform, we'd have to encode some additional data. We'd have to encode the field, the actual field that we're trying to build. So field, or actually we'll call it property. No, this wouldn't work either. We'd have to have the actual instance using the transformer. So this is what we're looking at, really. There are model transformers and view transformers, and which one were we using? Beau example, the transformer used is a model transformer. Okay, we were doing a model transformer. So they use the same ideas here. It's just that one is, or it's the same underlying interface, I believe. It's the model data gets converted into normalized data, and then the normalized data gets converted into view data. The view data then gets converted back to normalized data, and normalized data gets converted back to model data, all using the same transform, reverse transform interface. I think the problem might be the problem is the fundamental mismatch between file and uploaded file. But there's no easy way to do this. The problem is this would be super easy to do if I just had my own controller, which is just kind of frustrating, really. If we look at the Scratch file that we started with a couple of sessions ago, from the form controller, we get an episode, yay, and we tell the, we do file equals new file. We get the information from the uploaded file, and then we would save it out. So in the case of, let's see, where was it? Yeah, so right from file, local path. So it would be really easy to do if we had our own controller, but it's this meta programming that it always gets me stuck. Let me double check to see if there was one of these here. Let's see if there's a more complex controller example that they have. Actually rewriting the controller rather than just this. So this is the code that I want. This stuff right here. So I need to find a custom new action method. I want to handle everything in EasyAdmin like the default new action, but this. New form. Solution provided is the correct one. Looking. Render template that may be helpful. Let's see, so it's new action. Let's look at the admin controller new action. So I suppose I could just rewrite this. So create new entity, request attributes, get EasyAdmin. All right, so here it's pre-persisting the entity. And then persist, redirect to refer. I don't know what this execute dynamic method is. Pre-persist entity name entity. What's that do? So given a method name pattern, it looks for the customized version of that method. Okay. And executes it. If the custom method does not exist, it executes the regular method. So create entity name. The entity name is user. If create user entity exists, execute it. Otherwise, execute create entity. All right, so let's go to new action. And it does pre-persist entity. Dispatch, okay. Create new form. All right, so then we're looking at pre-persist entity and persist entity. But neither of these get new form. Where does form is submitted and new form is valid? Huh. Persist. Let's go to that. Get args trigger error. This method is deprecated. Okay, so why are you calling it? This entity class, return new fully qualified class name. Still trying to figure out where this actually is. The entity create new entity name, right? New form. All right, so it's being passed here. And must be copying that content in. So let's do create new form, create entity form. Okay, form, entity properties view. All right, form builder, build new instance, form builder, get form, okay. Wow. It's just providing away. All right, well, I guess that's not an option either. All right, so I'm gonna have to call it quits on this one. I'm still not sure the right path. Don't use entities. This is generally what I've been seeing anyway, and the fact that EasyAdmin is almost entirely built around data object, or around using entities. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like this is going to be good. What about update form, publish date? I hate to say it, but this is almost making me feel like EasyAdmin is not worth it. It works great for standard data types. What I'm doing with Astrocasts, it works okay for the most part, just out of the box without any changes. It works pretty well here. So for like projects, I can click and show, and it's all there. And I didn't have to do anything, which is really great for this particular use case. But for that podcast, it's been nothing but a pain. So I think possibly, I mean, it's really an episode list. It's an edit form and an add episode form, which isn't even rendering at this point. And it's just, it seems way more trouble than it should be. So I think that maybe after 6 sessions of trying to get this to work, I don't know if it's been 6 exactly, but it's been a lot, that perhaps it's time to consider building just a custom backend for this. Anyway, if anyone has any other suggestions, let me know. You can send me an email, you can join Discord chat, and yeah, I will see you all again this evening, 8 o'clock Central Time. I'll be joining again to work more on the Astrocast site itself. And then tomorrow I'll be picking up, working on that podcast again. And I think we'll look at seeing how far we can get in one session, building a custom backend rather than using EasyAdmin. All right, well, thank you all for joining. Thanks for joining, Adam. I think Joe's already gone. I'm not sure who else is online, but thanks again. Appreciate it.